Hey runners, are your shoes causing your shin splints? So this is a good question I got recently. Somebody had shin splints or has shin splints, and she said, should I get new shoes? And I just want to say this, before you get new shoes, make sure you're running with efficient movement. All right, so I'm just going to say that because when I first got into running, I was already what you call fit. I was a fitness coach, I taught group classes, you know, I was in the fitness world, and then I go out and I start running and I got shin splints. And in the beginning, I did the same thing. I went to the running shoe store, I got new shoes specific for running, went back out running, still had the shin splint. And at the time, by the way, this was in the early 90s, and people were like, oh, everyone gets shin splints. Put some get Dixie cups, fill them with ice, stick them in your freezer, and then after your run, just ice your shins. I thought, no, that cannot be right. You know, there's no reason I should be injured after each run. So I actually found a method of running. It's called pose method. And the reason I found it is because I found it in a book, one, because I started to look for efficient movement for running. And back then, there was really nothing out there. So this was the first thing I found. And it said you should try to run using the action of pulling your foot up using your hamstring. So again, back then, early 90s, I was in college, kinesiology major. So that made sense to me to start looking at running as a movement rather than just as an action. Most of us see running as an action. We're just going running. We're going running. How far are you going? What are you wearing for your run? No one really talks about running as a movement, right? It's really just an action of I'm going running. Here I go, I'm running. So when I found, okay, first of all, research shows over and over that as soon as the foot is out in front of you, it adds impact to your movement. And this is walking or running, but in running, especially because you're going to have one foot off the ground, when this foot lands out in front of you, it's up to 3 times your body weight. Wow. And on average, it's 1,500 steps a mile. So then you're like 1,500 times, 3 times my body weight. Wow, I'm surprised my leg wasn't broken. You know what I mean? Because when I first started running, I was a reacher. And this is still what I see a lot. And by the way, we have this little quiz on our site where we ask people, where's your pain? Where are you feeling pain? And maybe the pain is because you're reaching in front of you. So we call that being a reacher. You know, this is when you run and you reach your foot out. Well, if it's already 3 times my body weight to put my foot out in front of me, and then I reach and extend that even further, well, that 3 times your body weight could be up to 6 or 8 times your body weight because you reach the foot out. Well, wow. So then you're like, okay, well, I don't want to reach my foot out. Of course not. So then that's why you don't try to take away something. You replace it with a more efficient movement. So I wouldn't say, don't reach, because then what do you do? I don't know. So keep that in mind. But I was taught, so reaching is really the biggest cause, by the way, of the shin splint, because the foot kicks out. And this is a big thing because people always ask me about like heel striking or pronating or supinating. And the reality is that if you put your foot out in front of you, whether you land on your heel side this way, the impact of the landing is what's really affecting the shin. So that's as important. Now, I always call a heel strike a slap to the ground, because if you reach with your heel and the heel hits first, then the whole foot has to slap down. So it's like a double whammy. So heel strike is really just reach, kick, slap. But it all comes back to reaching, right? Nobody's really thinking about, I'm going to hit the ground with this part of my foot. But the reach part is what brings that heel out. So I had said, I do not want to do that reaching anymore, right? And then, by the way, the opposite of the reach is the push off the back. And many times we run with 2 actions. A lot of people push off that back leg and then they reach their front leg. So then you've got, again, that impact of the landing, and then you've got to take this leg and you just impacted this leg, and then you're going to ask it, you just took about 3 to 6 times my body weight. Now hold that impact and then carry me as I bring this leg forward. You see what happens? So if I'm pushing off the back with one leg and I'm reaching with the front with the other, you're going to get twice the load, twice the impact. So the shin splint itself is just your leg responding to having to hold too much body weight, and then you're hitting it into the ground. That's the reality of a shin splint. You're pushing off your back leg usually, and then you reach with the front. So then what happens, of course, if you buy new shoes? In the beginning, you will feel less because you have a new shoe, and it might have cushion, so that it feels better, right? Like if I don't have anything. If I had something cushy in front of me, right, I would be less afraid to touch it. If you have a hard ground, you might feel a little less inclined to land so heavy. So you have to be careful, because if you have a lot of cushion in your shoe, it may protect you in the short term from feeling it. However, unfortunately, your leg is still taking the impact. In fact, your whole body does. So this is research, you can look it up, that the shoe itself is really not protecting you from the impact. The shoe itself is protecting you from the elements on the ground. That's what you want. So you don't feel the rocks, or you don't feel the ground, or you don't feel, if there's something that could hurt your foot. The reality, though, is the shin splint, or even the plantar pain, these lower leg injuries are coming from you are spending too much time on the ground and your action is incorrect. You're either reaching, pushing, or both. So the answer is, in the short term, change your movement before you change your shoes. And don't get me wrong, shoes are fun. I wear the same shoes. I wear the New Balance Trail Minimus. Unfortunately, they don't make them anymore. I haven't been able to find them. So I've been getting them on eBay. And I look for shoes that are comfortable, that when I put them on, they feel comfortable. So I don't advocate for one pair of shoe. A lot of my runners, there's a lot of people that are out there wearing, all the brands. So I'm not going to plug anybody. But the shoe itself, when you're wearing your running shoe and you're standing in it, just standing in it, you should feel like you're barefoot. Not that you can feel the ground, but you shouldn't feel like you're tilted forward. You shouldn't feel like you're rocking back. You should feel neutral, right? So when you buy a shoe, that's what you're looking for. When I stand in it, do I still feel like I'm just standing, or is it trying to put me in a different position, all right? That's important on the shoe. And the most important thing is, what is your running action? So I don't want to reach and I don't want to push. What do I want to do? You really want to pull your foot up from the ground using your hamstring. And what's really nice is when you learn how to pull, how to use that pull action and use the hamstring, not only will it get rid of your shin splints, it gets rid of up to 53% of the impact on all of your joints. It's amazing. And what's wild is this research has been around, I think, since maybe 97. Did he come up with it? Anyway, in the 90s, that research came out. You can go to posttech.com. It's published on the website. And what's amazing about it is once they published that, for me, it was fantastic because I was already into it. And I thought, if I can help people get rid of shin splints and just reduce impact altogether, wow, right? And by the way, think about it. I found Pose in the late 90s. I got certified, by the way, 2004. So I'm almost 30 years into this method, into coaching it, teaching it, and it's still the same, right? Because the reality is that when you use this hamstring and you pull your foot up, you actually let the quad, the hip flexor, the low back, a lot of these other parts of the body that were trying to work in your run before, they don't have to work. They can do what they're supposed to do. Their job is to hold your body up. When you're standing still, by the way, all your muscles are still involved. This is important to understand. In running, all the muscles are working. However, the only action muscle is the hamstring. That doesn't mean the other muscles aren't working. Your job, though, is simply to pull the foot and then let the hamstring take care of the rest. Because what's really great about your body is you have a natural blueprint for running. Like watch little kids, right? They just run because it's innate. It's a natural thing. It's only as we get older that we kind of lose that. So for a lot of us, because especially if we're running as adults, we've been using our quads a lot, the hamstring kind of gets forgotten. So a really nice thing about learning the pull, one is you'll strengthen that hamstring, but the most important part is if you just run in place, and I said nothing about pulling, so just run in place a minute, what action do you actually do? So try it and see what you think. Everybody just run in place. You're pulling. Up, 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 up. It's natural. It's how everyone runs in place, and it's how you should also travel. So I encourage you guys, check out the free 3-2-1 run on the app. We have the RunRx Reboot on the YouTube channel, and of course, join us. Let me coach you. That's the best way to learn. I can actually watch you doing your drills, doing your practice, and of course, help you take it out on the road, on the trail, wherever you want to go for your run without those shin splints. So the best part is if you really work on your correct running action, then every time you run, you're going to get better at running, you're going to get a little stronger, and then the best part is those shin splints really do go away. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments. If you're subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't, please do, and have a great running year.